Aloha and welcome to the Best Day Ever podcast. I am your host, Tru Sav, fresh off of a mental health vacation from the lovely island of Oahu in Hawaii. Oh, man, a lot of stuff happened. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Oh, man, health is wealth. Boy, I'm here to tell you, you've got to take a break. It was only 5 days, but it felt like a month. Just waking up, knowing I had nothing to do but go sit on the beach, work on my tan. And it's a lovely tan, if I must say. I'm a lighter shade of brown. It is a nice, even all over tan, too, not one of those bad looking tans. I'm very, very thankful to the Hawaiian sun. I appreciate that. Uh, so much has happened in the last week. So many stories to tell. But I mean, we might as well just get into it because we've only got an hour. I will try to be quick. Uh, so the missus and I, we leave the night before, and then I'm going to my mom's house. And when we get to my mom's house, my niece is there, which is odd because it's a school night, but whatever. So of course, the first thing that my niece asked me to do when I get there is to set her PlayStation up for her. So I begrudgingly set up her PlayStation because it's not her fault. She didn't know that I wanted a PlayStation since 1998. It's all right. It's not her fault. So I set it up, and then she says, "Oh well, I don't have any games." Or the games she had were Shinobu Warrior and some other horrible game. And then I see a game that looks rather familiar, and I'm like, "What is that?" She has Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Now, mind you, she's 9. So it's like, you don't need this. Like, that's not, we're not gonna do that. So I ended up buying, what is it? Little Big Planet and Minecraft because there's no reason for her to be playing Call of Duty at 9. Like I don't even think you can you turn the blood off on Call of Duty? I don't even think you can. I wasn't even going to get into it. I wasn't going to deal with all that. So I set her up with those, but by the time I set it up, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. So she goes to bed, we go to bed, and the adventure starts. Our flight was for 9 o'clock out of Sacramento. So we called the Uber. I think the Uber had to be there at 6:30 because you're supposed to be at your flights 2 hours ahead of time, which is always fun. So we called the Uber, and surprisingly, he was there within 5 minutes. So we get all our stuff, get loaded, get in the car. My man pulled up in a Kia Soul, I think it was, the one that looks like the toaster, which is fine. We paid for the little regular Uber, whatever. He pulls up, puts the bags in the car. Hey, how you doing? Good morning. Greet him, say everything. I noticed immediately he looked like Cedric the Entertainer. He's short, maybe 5'6", 5'7", stocky, had the fedora with the button-up shirt, the white, like khaki kind of pants. So I knew it was going to be interesting as soon as I get in the car. We get in and we're headed to the airport, and he just won't stop talking. He's just, as soon as we get in, bam, where you going? What are you doing? So on and so forth. And he tells us that him and his wife are from St. Louis. And they had just moved out here. And they were thinking about starting a business. And I asked, well, what kind of business? He's like, oh, well, the barbecue place. I was like, well, Sacramento needs one of those. We don't really have too many barbecue places. The only place we had was Sandra D's. And he was like, yeah, we tried them out and didn't particularly care for it. And he goes on to tell me about how he went to another restaurant and he knew that they needed some salt in the coleslaw and they cooked the ribs too long and they put too much milk in the mac and cheese. And I was like, man, if you can tell all of that just from eating the food, you need to hurry up and open a restaurant. You're playing. Like, that makes no sense. Go ahead and get your money. And he was like, well, nah, man, like, you gotta babysit food. Like, you can't just get this money. Like, you got to sit there and watch it, and so on and so forth. I was like, I feel it. I completely understand. That's what's up. I was like, well, what do you do now? Like, what do you do for work when you're not driving? He's like, oh, well, I'm in the music business. So I said, okay. Like, well, what do you do? Oh, you know, man, I signed up and coming artists. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Trying to get them a deal so they can get on with the major. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's what's up. I didn't know people were still signing 360 deals, but okay, like that's what's up. He's like, you know, and then in my spare time, I'm trying to get my pilot's license, you know, because I was like, bro, you are a jack of all trades, brother. I must confess, I need to get it together because you have definitely got it going on. But he was cool. My man drove like Jeff Gordon though. Like he was. We must have got to the airport in 15 minutes. He was all gas, no brakes. He was dipping and dodging through traffic, cutting off semis. But he was cool though, and it was funny. I didn't think about it until I got out of the car. The music he was playing was from an artist I'd never heard. Like they were all covers of other famous songs. So all in all, dude was cool. We gave him like a $10 tip, I think, on a $20 ride. Because just the conversation and him driving like that was was more than hilarious. We after this get to the airport, check our bags. I think our bag was over by a pound, so we had to tuck a little T-shirt in the backpack. Get to security, which is always fun. Take everything out your pockets. Blah blah blah. I walk through the X-ray machine, and they pull me to the side. Well, first my bag gets pulled over for a secondary check. So now I'm thinking like, did I leave like something from work in my bag? Because I take a backpack to work, just because sometimes I'll ride the BART or something. So I'll have like chargers or maybe another battery pack or something. Like I have a whole bunch of rubber gloves in my backpack. I don't know why. I just have them in there. So they pull me to the secondary check, and they pull a whole soda out of my bag that I had forgot was even in there. And they're like, "Oh, do you want this?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." Also, when I went to the security check, because you know when you do the X-ray, you put your feet on the yellow line, put your hands above your head. They said that there was something that they had to pat me down again. So my wife, thinking that she's being funny, says, "Oh, you got to make sure that you check his hair." Motherfucker. Like, this is not the time to play. Never, when dealing with the TSA or any type of law enforcement, never is it the time to play with them. Like, so they look at her, they look at me, so now they make me take my hair out because my hair is in a fro, like I haven't braided it in a while. So now they want to go through my hair and touch on my hair. It's like, come on, lady. Like, that's not funny. So finally, luckily they didn't use any of the rubber gloves on your boy. I would have cried. So we finally get through security. We get to our gate, and now we're hungry. So we're like, okay, I'm gonna slide to what was it? The little food court and see what they got. So of course they have my favorite, which is these little hummus cups that have like pretzels on top. So it's two separate containers. One is pretzels, one is hummus, but it's wrapped together. So I can get those. I grabbed like two of them. I think I was buying French fries or something. And so the lady looks at me and she was like, "You know those are $5, right?" Yeah, I assumed we're at the airport, so I mean, exorbitant prices are what to expect. Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. So I think I ended up paying like $18 for a thing of fries and two things of hummus. So yeah, the vacation was starting off a little expensive. So we come back, we eat our little expensive ass hummus and expensive ass fries, and now it's starting to get. It's about 8 o'clock. 8:15 rolls around. 8:30, they come over the speaker. Okay, we're doing some last minute maintenance on flight whoop de whoop to Honolulu. It's going to be a couple minutes. 8:45 rolls around. 9 o'clock rolls around. Now we were supposed to leave. Jesus, at 8:50. So when 9 o'clock rolls around and we're still waiting, I didn't really think about it because I'm just hanging out, ready to go. 9:15 rolls around, and they come back on the PA and say, "Okay, this flight to Honolulu has been canceled. So if you could go downstairs to the Hawaiian desk or whatever, we'll figure out what we're gonna do." Now I've never had a flight get canceled before, so I didn't know. Actually, you know what? I did have a flight get canceled before, and we'll talk about that in another exciting episode. But the flight gets canceled, so we go downstairs to the Hawaiian desk, and by the time we get there, there's already 30 people in line ahead of us. So now it's like, now there's all of us in line. Everyone's complaining. There's people on the phone trying to call Hawaiian Airlines to circumvent the line. And in my mind, I'm thinking, they know that your flight got canceled. Like, Hawaiian knows. So, like, there's nothing that they can do over the phone that this person at this desk can't do. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to tell you, you need to talk to the person at the desk because they're going to be able to do something right now. Unless you want to just cancel your flight and just be done, the people on the phone aren't really going to be able to help you. So you're going to have to wait in the line like the rest of us and deal with it as it comes. So now we're waiting in line. People are mad. I'm standing next to this older gentleman, older white guy. It's got to be early 60s, 60 something, gray hair guy, cool guy. He's like, yeah, we got to wait now, such and such and such and such. Then just worst transition ever. He goes from, yeah, we got to wait to, so, what part of Hawaii are you from? And I was like, wait, what? Say that again. What do you mean? He's like, oh, you're not from Hawaii? And I was like, no. And in hindsight, I thought about it. I was like, it's a big black guy in line. I have a headband on my hair, so instead of it just being the fro, I have the headband so that maybe 3 or 4 inches is flat, and then the hair is up in the back, which is a similar hairstyle that a lot of Hawaiian people or Tongan or Samoan people would wear. So I was like, okay, I guess I can give that to you. But not really. So as we're waiting, I can hear all the different people on the phone with the airlines. Because I've only had one flight canceled, and it was a long time ago. I forgot what it ended up happening. But people are now on the phone, like, cussing at the Hawaiian Airlines people. Why would you do this? And this is horrible customer service, and this and this and this. Especially the guy behind me. It was a shorter Asian guy. Or no, he must have been Hawaiian. Well, we don't know. The jury's out. I hate to racially stereotype him. He's on the phone just drilling the person on the phone. This is horrible customer service, and you don't care about your customers, and this and this and this. I have an appointment to make, and this and this and this. Why isn't there another plane on standby? So I paused in a moment of quiet reflection, and I was like, so let me get this right. You want us to risk our lives because you have an appointment tomorrow? And what I mean is, he wanted us to just get on the plane and go. Like, the majority of the people in line were absolutely furious that we just didn't get on the plane. They're like, well, you looked at it, it should be fine, right? And I was like, no. No, no, no. If they were doing maintenance on the plane for an hour and they couldn't figure it out, cancel the flight. I'm not getting on the plane after you said that. You just told me you worked on the plane for an hour and you couldn't figure it out, and you're just like, uh, just get up in the air. It's like we're gonna be 5 hours in the air over the open ocean. No, no. Whatever security thing, whatever maintenance you got to do, if you're not feeling it, I'm with it. Let's just go ahead, get another flight, and we can rock. So I was patiently waiting. I wasn't tripping. I didn't care how long it took. I wasn't getting on no plane that had any kind of issues. If you think something is wrong, like why would you? Because then what happens is, so let's say they do say, okay, well, enough people want to get on the plane, and then the plane crashes. Then what? Then your family's going to want to sue because, oh, well, you knew something was wrong with the plane. Why did you let him get on the plane? It's like, nah, bro, y'all are wild. Like, just patience. Patience is a virtue. I don't understand. You just people are in such a rush. You're going to get there. You might be late. Tell them you need some more compensation. I'm sure the airlines will figure it out. It boggles my mind. So by the time we finally get up there, it must have been like 2 hours. We stood in line for a minute. We get up to the front. So that old friendly guy that was asking me if I was Hawaiian gets up to the front and just loses it. He's arguing with the lady at the counter. No, you need to do this. No, you need to do this. And his poor wife is just like, oh my God, Gary, stop it. Like, what is wrong with you? You're embarrassing us. So luckily, when we pull up, we get up to the counter. The lady's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, ma'am, it's not your fault. I'm glad that you guys are even responsible enough to just say, you know what? We're just going to cancel this. We'll make whatever accommodations. So she's just like, oh, okay. So you're not upset you had to wait? Nope. I'm hanging out. I know you'll get us there. It's fine. So she gives us the option of, well, this was my favorite option. She gives us the option to leave Sacramento, fly to New York. Yes. So fly to New York to fly immediately. Yeah, so fly to New York, get on another plane, fly back to LA to sleep at LAX, to leave in the morning to get to Hawaii, or we could catch an 8 o'clock flight from, no, we could catch an 8 o'clock flight the next day from Sacramento to Hawaii, or we could take a taxi to San Francisco and catch a flight that left at 4 o'clock. So of course we took the flight to San Francisco, or I'm sorry, we took the taxi ride to San Francisco, which was terrible because we just drove from Oakland, but we still had to drop the dogs off, so it didn't matter. We still would have had to come to Sacramento. So she gives us a voucher for the taxi. It was just like, just go out to any taxi and give them this and they'll take you. So it was like, that's fine. She also gives us like some food vouchers. So we were like, hey, we got some free food and we got a free taxi ride. Like, whatever. I'm not tripping. We get there a little later, but whatever. Go outside, find a taxi. Now, we find the taxi. I'm like, I'm not riding in the Camry, nothing like that. Get the van so we can stretch out, whatever. So we find my man. We get in the van, or we get in the taxi, shoot him a little paper. So he already knows what time it is. So he's getting paid either way. So we started riding. We get about 15, 20 minutes there. I start to fall asleep because we've been up. We've been moving and grooving. Next thing I know, my wife like pushes me. I'm like, what's up? Like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. She's like, hey, I think the guy is falling asleep. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I think he's falling asleep. Like, we're driving, and you know when you're driving and you kind of see you do that, you shake a little bit. So I'm looking at him, and he's kind of fading. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah, this is a long-ass drive. So I was like, well, say something. Speak up. This is one of our, we're learning how to be more assertive at the Tru Sav household. That's why I was like, say something to him. So she goes, I'm sorry, hold on. She says, excuse me, sir, are you all right? You seem to be going to sleep. He's like, no, 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 no. It's the wind, the wind. You know, the wind, the wind is moving the car, and you know, so, like, bro, you were asleep. So that wakes him up a little bit. So he wakes up. Now he's at full attention now because he knows that we're on him. So we get out there. Nice drive. Um, and the meter's still running. So I'm checking out the meter. This taxi ride from San Francisco or from Sacramento to San Francisco, if you ever wanted to know how much taxi was $316. $316. I mean, I didn't get the bill. They were gonna bill the Hawaiian, but I was like, damn, that's the bill for that ass, boy. Ooh, that didn't make no sense. So luckily we make it there. They put us on a United flight, and it was a 777. So it's 343. So 3 seats on the outside, 4 in the middle, 3 on the outside. This is a nice ass plane, y'all. I can't even front. We boarded. We picked our seats. So we did a last row from the back because it was 4. So we were in the middle seat with the 4 seats. So we get on the plane. Our steward, or I'm sorry, our flight attendant, I have to use unisex terms. He tells us, instead of sitting right next to each other, he tells my wife, why don't you sit on the end and then I'll sit on the end, so that way no one will ask to, like, hey, can I sit in between you guys? Like, that's weird. So we're like, yeah, all right. Like, can we do that? So we slide over, and of course everyone has that look, like they look like, no, I'm not gonna do it. So that was cool. That was what's up. I don't think I've ever been on a United flight, but that was cool. So we get on there, and before the flight even leaves, we can hear, because we're in the very last row, so we're right by the flight attendants, and I can hear there's a lady talking and a man talking. The man is saying to her, like, oh, well, we need you to do such and such, drink service, such and such. And the woman's telling him how she's not going to do it. She's not going to do this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. And he can't make her. So the man responds with, maybe this is why people don't like you. Maybe this is why nobody wants you on their flight crew. Some. And this isn't, it's not like they're whispering and I'm overhearing this. Like, this is loud enough to be heard throughout the whole cabin. So the lady said, oh, well, if you don't like me, then why are you on this crew? And he's like, you picked up someone's shift. He's like, if I'd have known you were on this flight, I would have called out. He's like, I want to jump off the plane right now because you're in here. So then the lady responds, well, I'll get off right now. This and this and this and this and this. And this was turning into a good one. I couldn't see who it was, and I didn't want to turn around and look because it was too hot at the moment. So one of the other flight attendants, the guy that had helped us, that had told us, slide over, he comes to the back and says, I don't like it when mommy and daddy argue. And they kind of stop for a second. It gets the hushed tones. You can kind of hear them going back and forth for a second, and then it stops. So then for the rest of the flight, the game was trying to figure out who the voice went to. Like, which one was the person that was saying they weren't going to do it. And we never really figured out the mystery. So it's going to be one of those tales that are lost to time. The flight attendant who didn't want to do her job. Now the fun begins. Plane's about to take off. We got our in-flight entertainment cracking. Again, shout out to United Airlines. Their in-flight movie selection, second to none. At least 70, 80 movies. That's a real classy organization. I really appreciate you guys. Shout out to Hawaiian for buffing us to United Airlines. Way bigger plane. I ended up watching, I watched some throwback movies. I watched Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. If you don't know, if you've seen Avatar, you've seen Fern Gully. Same exact premise. The Land Before Time, another classic Classic movie. Three horns don't play with long necks. I know a couple Sarahs too. That reminds me. And finally, I watched the new Hellboy, which was garbage, absolute garbage. I mean, I had 2 hours to burn, so I watched it, but definitely not going on any top five ever, 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 ever. So after a surprisingly short flight, I had 4 movies to watch, so we touched down in the great state of Hawaii. We land in Honolulu, and as soon as you get off the plane, it's hot. Now, mind you, I have sweats on. Because when we left Sacramento at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's 40, 50 degrees. It's 8 o'clock at night, and it's 80-something degrees. So I'm instantly hot, like, oh, this ain't gonna work. But I battle through it. We get to, and Honolulu's airport is ancient. It looks like Sacramento's airport did in the 80s and 90s. Like, it just looks old. Like, old schemes, like, it was the newer airports have that kind of sleek look. They have the kind of tempered glass and the newer floors. They still had carpet. Like, you could see where beams used to be, and like the wood. It was something else. I mean, airport's an airport, but I mean, step your game up a little bit, Honolulu. I don't know. So we get our bags. Everything's popping. Call our Uber. And he might be tied for first with my favorite Uber this trip. He was a Hawaiian guy, obviously. Another short guy, like maybe 5'6", 5'7", all the tattoos and everything. He had a Toyota, like the Toyota Siennas. Again, another favorite car, the one with the automatic doors, all that type of stuff. So we're driving around. We're going to the condo that we're going to stay at. And so, of course, he's got some conversation for us, too. And my first thing I asked him is, oh, where is Magnum PI's house? Was this where they did Magnum PI? And he was like, yeah. He's like, but if you want to find Magnum, you'll probably find him at the beach in the tent. I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, well, Obama bought that house. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, Barack Obama bought that house. Like, he owns that house that they shot Magnum PI in. I was like, oh, all right, that's what's up. Like, that's cool. He's like, yeah. And then as we were turning to go down whatever street we were going down, he's like, oh, yeah, and that's that high school right there. He's like, that's a private high school. That's where Obama went, and this and this and this. I was like, okay, that's what's up. Little tour guys got some knowledge on the island. So as we turned, he was like, yeah, because there is some place. Oh, I guess Obama comes to Honolulu every year for Christmas, celebrate with his family and whatnot. So the guy says, yeah, he comes here, celebrates with his family. He brings his 2 adopted daughters with him, and they have a good time. And he pauses, and I start dying. I start cracking up. And my wife is looking at me like, adopted daughters? I don't get it. And I was like, I'll explain it to you a little bit when you're older. But me and the guy are cracking up because I get the joke, and he knows that I get the joke. And I tell him, I was like, yeah, those kind of jokes aren't too popular in California. But if you don't get the joke, just Google Barack Obama and adopted daughters. I'm not even going to waste your time with it right here. I'm not going to do political jokes. So we finally get to the hotel. Again, shot my man a nice tip. Like, just for the jokes. The jokes alone, my man was cracking me up. Gave us some good suggestions on restaurants, where to go, where not to go, stuff like that. Cool dude. I liked him too. We get to the condo, show us how to park, show us how to get in, all that. We immediately go to sleep because we have to be up at 8 o'clock to do this tour the next day. And honestly, I was not looking forward to the tour. I'm not a tour person. I don't want to be the tourist. I don't want to walk around with the camera. Oh, this is the scenic spot where such and such. I'm like, man, I just kind of want to do my own thing, find my own stuff. I really don't want to look like a victim. But my wife loves it, so here I am. And while we're talking about looking like a tourist, so my thing is, whenever I go on vacation, I'm always that guy rocking the Hawaiian shirt. So when I packed like 5, 6 different Hawaiian shirts. I mean, that's just my thing when we go on vacation. When we got there, though, I don't think I wore one Hawaiian shirt. No, I wore one shirt because when you get there, you see so many people. Most of the people who wear Hawaiian shirts work there. And the people who don't just look so out of place and just so nerdy. Not even nerdy. You can just tell that they're tourists and they're like, I'm in Hawaii, so I'm going to wear my Hawaiian shirt. I look like the locals. It's like, nah, bro, I just couldn't do that. So I just rocked the white t-shirt, blue jeans, and Nikes. So it was a lesson learned. But when we go to the Caribbean, the Hawaiian shirts are coming back out straight up. Now, we get the pickup for the tour was right across the street, luckily, so we didn't have to go too far. Everywhere on this island is really close. You can drive around the entire island in like 2 hours. So it's not that big. There's stuff to do and there's a lot of traffic, but it's not that big. You can get end to end you could drive around the island a couple times in one day. So we start riding around, and our tour guy, I knew our tour guy was going to be funny when he says, yeah, you might remember our bus driver, Mo. He used to do stunt work for Danny Glover and Lethal Weapon. The bus driver was an older bald black guy, and he did look like Danny Glover. And I was like, oh, this is going to be funny. I can already tell he's a funny guy. Our tour guide was Jack. It was this white guy. It looked like he probably lived on the island his whole life, or maybe was a transplant. He seemed like that guy in the movies that knows where everything's at. Like, my man had on slacks, a Louis belt, a Hawaiian shirt, and like some wingtips. So he was trying to look professional, but the jokes he was cracking, it was something else. And then he had his girlfriend on the tour bus with us. So the bus is packed. Like, there's 20, maybe 25 some odd people. It's him and his girlfriend in the front, and then the guy that's driving. They're just up there having a good old time. So I knew it was going to be interesting off of the jump. So we're doing the tour, bending corners and whatnot. We pick up this Australian couple. This is important to the story later. We picked this Australian couple up. It was a mother and 2 kids, and they would not shut the fuck up. The mom just would not. She just talk. And then she had that Australian accent, so it sounded even weird. No. It was, you could always tell it was her talking because you could always hear her. Then we passed McDonald's. She goes, you guys have a Macca's? A what? Yeah, we call them a Macca's. They got a burger there? Lady, be quiet. Leave me alone. I digress. Let me leave the lady alone. I love Australia. I want to go there one day. No, I don't. So we're driving around the island, and the first thing you notice is that there's chickens everywhere, just running wild. And so the first thing he says is, if you're wondering why there's so many chickens, it's because Filipinos brought them over with them in, the 30s, 40s, when they used to come work on the island. And they brought with them the cockfighting. And so I was taken aback a little bit. It's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, they like fight chickens still on the island. The thing is, though, the rule is if the police come to a cockfight, as long as the birds aren't in cages, no one can get arrested. So what ends up happening is The police show up, everyone opens the cages, and the birds are just kind of running around. Now you got to put them back in the cage. So sometimes they catch them, sometimes they get away. This coupled with the hurricane they had a few years ago, it destroyed one of the chicken farms. So it let out hundreds of chickens. So now they're just all around the island, and there's no way to really stop the growth of them. You can't now let out another animal to try to curb the population of chickens because now you have a whole other situation that you just don't even want to deal with. So yeah, there was chickens everywhere, like big ass roosters and chickens all over the place. You'd see them, you'd see them everywhere. It was ridiculous. I mean, I didn't mind as long as they weren't fucking with me. I wasn't tripping. Now, as we're driving, because it's not hot. It's like 80 degrees, but there's a breeze. Like when we were in Mexico, it was 90 degrees with 90% humidity, and that's just disgusting. Like that is just gross. Here it was 80, but there was a breeze, so it wasn't as bad, but it was still kind of hot when there's 25 people on a van or on a bus. So as we're going up this hill, so you're going up the hill, you got to turn the AC off. Those of you with struggle cars, you got to turn the AC off. You got to get up this hill. We stop at a gas station, and because I'm sitting maybe 2 rows from the front, I can feel the hot air. So I already know what time it is. I'm like, the AC went out. Like, it's going to be bad because it's only 11 o'clock. So we still have 5 hours left in a van with 25 people with no AC. This is going to be rough. Like, this ain't gonna be cool. So they make the call dude. He's like, okay, give us like 15, 20 minutes. We're going to get a new bus out here, so on and so forth. By whatever miracle or guess, they ended up getting it to work somehow. So the AC is booming. We get back on. We start pushing again. And we get to our next destination, which is the little beach. So we get to the beach, and they're like, okay, so we'll be here for about maybe an hour, and then we'll go to the restaurant where we're going to eat at. So we get out, and it's white sand, blue water. We learned from our last trip to Mexico, you never use the snorkel that they give you because it's always going to be trash. So we ended up buying some snorkels. I think maybe like $20. Well worth the $20. On the bus, there was, like I said, 25 people. Out of the 25, there was 5 black people. There was 1 black girl, another black couple, and then us. And as soon as we get there, we're up. Bam. Swim trunks, snorkels, you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. So we hop in the water. Bam. We're out there. And he already told us, he was like, look, don't go past the corals because there's a riptide. So if you go past the corals, your ass is going to get drug out into the ocean. Ain't no lifeguard out here, so you going to be fish food. Of course, we don't got no sense. We're looking at, there's another group, not like a tour, but just some people on the beach. There's another couple. They got some snorkels, so we're kind of mirroring them. They're on the reef, so we're on the reef. They go past it, we go past it. At one point, I dived down into the water because we got the fancy snorkels, so you can like dive into the water then come back up. I dive down and I can feel the water tugging me out. Like I could distinctly feel it. Like it wasn't like, oh, it was just like I could feel it. Bloop up, come on, nigga, like you coming out here. I was like, oh. So I come up and I scoot back to the little coral thing because I was like, I can't be that guy on vacation. I'm not going out like that. But yeah, it was cool. We did the little coral reef thing, got to see all the little fish, went up and down for a while, and I could tell that the other black people were tripping. Not like that, but they were astonished to see other black people not only swimming in the ocean where your feet couldn't touch, but snorkeling and like diving down and doing all that. Because when we got back, what my wife said, one of the ladies in the bathroom when they were changing was like, so do you guys like swim a lot? And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I mean, you guys were out pretty far when you were snorkeling. And then like you brought your own snorkels with you. So like obviously this is something that you wanted to do. It's not like it's just last second and you decided, oh, we're going to do this. And she's like, yeah, I mean, we did it last time we were on vacation. I mean, it's cool. You got to try it. So, oh, no, I don't know. So here it is, the Tru Sav family breaking barriers down. Even some of the white people you could tell were surprised. Like, really? You two? I mean, hey, that's what stereotypes are for. They're made to be broken. So we leave the beach. We're there for about an hour. My man, the tour guide, now he already had his swim trunks, everything ready, but he didn't have like flip flops. So my man was on the beach with his surfer shorts and some wingtips with the black dress socks, looking crazy. But I mean, hey, the water's calling you, bro. Like you got to go. When we leave, we bounce out of there. We go to the restaurant where we're gonna eat lunch at. So the problem, well, not a problem, but I haven't ate meat since June. I've been good with that. That's the one thing I have been good at. Dairy and bread, I've been messing up from time to time. Not even gonna lie. We get to this restaurant and everything is seafood, chicken. They have one plate that's like vegetables. So we're like, all right, I'll rock with that. So we bought the little vegetable thing, comes with like a side of corn, slice of pineapple. When I tell you this was the driest, flavorless, nastiest Chinese food, I wanted to throw the shit at him. I was so mad. Like, if I wasn't hungry, I would have threw the shit back at him. And they wanted like $12 for it. Like, oh, you don't bring this to California. Like, you will get laughed up out of here. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I mean, I get it. They have a little deal. They have a deal with the tour guides. So like, you bring them by there, and they get paid. Like, all right, like whatever. Uh-oh. So we begrudgingly eat this nasty ass Chinese food, and then we finished the rest of the tour. We ended up going to, what was it, Turtle Bay, and saw those big ass land turtles, like the ones that are like 3 feet long by 2 feet wide. That thing was huge. There was a sea lion, another big ass 6 foot, 7 foot long sea lion. They're like, oh, let's go look at it. I was like, nah, I'm cool. No, thank you. I'll pass. Because those things, as big as they can go like 15, 20 miles an hour. And I'm not Tyreek Hill, so I can't outrun them. I'm chilling. I'm by the bus. I'll keep the bus going for you if we got to run, but no, thank you. We do that. Go see some other scenic sites. Then we went to the North Shore. I didn't know what it was either. It's the famous place where everybody surfs at, and it just so happened that they were having a surfing competition when we went. So they had the Red Bull truck and TV cameras and all the stuff out there, and they were out there surfing their ass off, boy. Like, hey, I thought it would be easy. Keep that in mind that I said that I thought surfing was easy. So we watched that for about 15, 20 minutes. Started heading through traffic, and we go to the Dole plantation. Emphasis on plantation. As we're going along, we're looking at the mountain ranges, and my man is describing all the different people that live there, Stallone and Keanu Reeves and so on and so forth. One of the things he said that was interesting was there's no private beaches on Oahu. And I'm assuming there's no private beaches on the larger islands, because he said the guy who started Google owns one of the islands. I think there's 120 smaller islands. Like, there's the 7 big ones, and then there's a lot of smaller ones. But I guess dude bought one of those islands, and he like owns like 98% of it, and that's one of the private ones. But on the bigger islands, there's no private beaches. So you can buy a house for $15 million that's on the beach, but there'll be a public beach access right by your house. Like it'll go right by your house because you can't privatize it and you can't privatize that road. So you just got to rock. So you're saying a lot of people go through rental agencies now. So you don't know who actually owns the house so you can get some sort of peace and quiet. I get it. He's also saying that they filmed Jurassic Park on Oahu. And after he said it and I looked at the mountains, I was like, this does look rather familiar. And actually, they have that valley where the T-Rex chases the whatever, the little things that he eats, and where they ride that little bubble. All of that is on Oahu. And you can take a tour where they have like the dinosaur steps and all of that. I really wasn't too into that. I would have loved to have gone, but I just didn't really want to feel like doing all that. But it sounded cool. And I said all that because as we're leaving, he starts giving a little history on the island. And one of the things I didn't know was that Hawaii was a territory when Pearl Harbor happened. It wasn't a state yet. It didn't become a state until 1953. So that was interesting, a little sidebar. But when he started talking about the Dole plantation, he was talking about how a lot of the native Hawaiians still have an issue with Dole because when it was CNN sugar and Dole, because they did pineapples and sugar in the 20s, 30s. And what ended up happening was Hawaii had a king and queen, and the king and queen leased the land that Dole was harvesting to them. Well, when the lease was up, the guy that ran Dole, his name escapes me, he didn't want to renew his lease. So he made a power move. And he called in the United States Army and was basically like, look, they're leasing me such and such amount of land. I'll let you put up these military installations, and then we both can rock. So now this will be a mutual beneficial relationship for both of us. So the United States was like, all right. So what they did was they waited until the king left and went to San Francisco. So it was just the queen there by herself, and they basically put the queen on house arrest. And mysteriously, the king died in San Francisco when he was on this trip. I know, right? Weird. So now they have the queen on house arrest. The queen is pen pals with the Queen of England, and she's trying to tell her, like, yo, they've got me locked up. They're trying to do this, that, and the other. And I'm sure the Queen of Britain was like, well, there's nothing I can do. So Dole actually ended up pressing the queen into giving them that land. And the United States military came in and took some more. And that's pretty much how they got Hawaii. Well, Oahu at least. So I thought that was really interesting. And so it was kind of like, after that, I didn't want to go to the Dole plantation. Like I was like, this is some more stolen land. Like I don't want to be here now. It's hard for me sometimes because being a retired revolutionary, sometimes the revolutionary thing kicks in on accident and it's hard to turn it off. And what I mean is when we've been on 3 cruises? Yeah. We did, the first one was Ensenada, the second one was like Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and another one, and the third one was Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cozumel. Now the ones in Mexico, Ensenada was rough because I didn't know. Like I had heard people tell stories about, oh, we go to Tijuana or Ensenada, and the little kids run up talking about chicle, chicle. I thought that was a joke. Like I thought people were just like trying to be funny. That was real. Like that was 100% real. Like there were children, like groups of children, 5, 6 years old, chicle, chicle, or they were just straight begging. And I didn't know. Like my problem is, like I said, I just give Here, if you need it, if you have to ask, you obviously need it. So there's a group of kids. They run up to me, chicle, chicle. I give them $5. Now, the conversion rate in Mexico is 20 to 1. So I just gave them 25 pesos, which is, oh, Jesus Christ, I can't count. I just gave them, don't mind me, I gave them 100 pesos. I'm still on the plane. So they look at the money, look at me, look at the money, and they break. They run back to their mom. She looks at it, looks at me, looks at the money, and sends them right back. So I'm like, no, 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 no. Gravy train's over. And even when we went to, what was it, Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan, that was some third world shit. Like that was poverty. Like I've lived in some trap apartments. Like I've lived in the bad neighborhood. This was a whole another level. Like this was like cobblestone streets. Like this was people like with no shoes, clothes that you can tell are obviously worn. Like, and the point being is I just don't feel comfortable in that type of situation. Not because of the people, but I mean, it's hard for me to enjoy being on vacation or exploring this country when you know there's that level of poverty. Because you know the people there are being exploited. And they talk to you different. There's a certain kind of way that they talk to you when they know that you're a tourist that I feel like they don't talk to you if you're a regular person. Case in point, we were in, where were we in? We were in Cozumel, and they have like stands everywhere. Anytime you take a tour that is, especially a lot of the tours are run through the cruise agencies because they don't want you just walking up to some random person in another country and being like, hey, can you drive me around? That's how bad things happen. So, of course, I mean, like in any business, they set up partnerships like you come by here, we'll do this, so on and so forth. So I'm leaving one of the places and this guy's yelling at me, hey, brother man, some, come check out my little stand. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Oh, is it because I'm Mexican? So like I stopped and like walked up on him and was like, why did you say that? Like, I'm not one of these other tourists from the United States that like you're not gonna like browbeat me into buying something because you said that. Like bro, I get it. You're trying to get your hustle on, but like don't talk to me like that. Don't do that. This happened in Jamaica too, and it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. We're in Falmouth, and we're taking the tour, and it was a black girl that was doing the tour, and she says there's three things you need to learn. There's three phrases you need to know if you're going to be on Jamaica. The first one is "Yeah, man, no problem," in Irie, and the white people laugh, and it's like ha 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 ha, and she says, what did she ask? She asked, does anyone know of any movies that got shot on the island of Jamaica? So the first thing I say is Shottas, Belly. And so she looks at me and she's like, oh, okay, like, you know what's up. So then when we get off of the boat, I'd asked her some kind of question, and she had tried to give me this long, drawn out ass accent. And I was like, look. You don't have to talk to me like that. Like, I'm not here to be entertained. Like, I'm just here chilling. My wife wants to go on the tour. You don't have to use self-deprecating humor to entertain me. Like, it's not even like that. And I could tell that once I said that to her, she started talking to me different, and she treated me differently than the rest of the people on the tour. And that's what I mean. Like, it's hard for me to be in a place where I know you're being taken advantage of. I know there's a trade embargo. I know that you're paying reparations to a country you were freed from years ago. And it's really hard to enjoy my vacation. Like, that almost ruined my vacation for me when he told that story about how they basically swindled them out of their land. This is back to Hawaii. And so much so that if he was saying that if you can prove that you have a certain percent of Hawaiian blood, that the state of Hawaii will actually give you some land because they took it. It's uh this is why it's so hard being a revolutionary, because there's just so many injustices and so much foul stuff that's going on. But it's like, hey, we know we played you, but now we'll make your spot a tourist destination, and you can come put on a minstrel show for these people. I digress. Sorry, that took a turn. Jesus, I'm sorry. So, so the next day, we're off the tour. My man Jack did a great job. Shout out to Captain Jack Sparrow. And he got a nice tip too. He was like, bro, you're the shit. I wish I would have asked him where the spots were at. I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to get off the thing. I was in another land. Now Friday comes, and my wife decided we were gonna go surfing. So this, remember when I told you? Remember I said that surfing is easy? Yeah. We get up, and luckily the surf lessons were right down the street. The condo she got, again, shout out to my wife. The condo that she got was right by the beach. Like literally, you could see the ocean from our balcony. Maybe 2 blocks at most. 2 blocks to the beach. We walk there for our surf lessons. And we're early, of course. We're always early. We're always 20 minutes early. It's weird. So we walk up to the little booth, and I'm like, yo, like, that looks like the surf lesson thing. Like, it has the sign, woot woot woot. So we asked, like, hey, we bought the surf lesson thing on Groupon. Is that you guys? And she immediately was like, nope, that's not us. That's Chris. He's over there somewhere. I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of rude, but whatever. So we go over, and we see this guy just kind of sitting there with some boards and a little thing. I was like, oh, we got the player price. All right, whatever. So we walk up to him, hey, are you Chris? She's like, oh, I'm Mrs. Tru Sav. We're here for the lesson. Before he even responds, she looks at me and is like, is this your husband? She's like, yeah. He's like, we're going to need a bigger board. I was like, kiss my ass, little Hawaiian dude. Need a bigger board. But I mean, we did need a bigger board. So he goes and gets the board. We go through a little quick lesson. Shows you how to get up, how to do all that stuff. It's surprisingly easy. Remember that I said that. If you have any kind of athleticism in you, surfing isn't that hard. Well, in theory. You're basically flat on your stomach, get on your knees, stand on your feet, stand up, hang loose. Yeah, it sounds easy. So we're rocking. So we get out into the water. So it's maybe 10, 15 minutes of instruction. The rest of the time, it's like, let's hit the water. So I'm like, all right, bet. So we get out there, and to my surprise, my wife is a surfer boy. In her previous life, she must have been out there. Because first try, she's up doing her thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is easy. I know she did it. I'm saying, I know I can do this. Boy. So I hit the first one, right? I get on the wave. I started to get up. Bam. I'm like, all right, it's cool. Like, I'm starting to get a hang of it. Now, the only problem with surfing is that you have to paddle. It's like, it's all upper body. Ain't no kicking your legs. It's straight upper body. And you got to paddle out there. And we're 60, 70 yards off of the shore. So it's not easy. Like, it's not just, oh, let me slide out here. It was not a joke. It was in that moment that I realized I need to really take Marshawn Lynch's advice to heart. I need to take care of my body. Because, boy, I thought, I was like, I'm not that out of shape. So, got a couple extra vanity pounds. No. I needed to be serious. I was out there dying. It was bad. It was a bad look. It was definitely a bad look for the brand. So she gets up there and she's surfing her little ass off. Just every wave. Next one I get on, I'm down, get on my knees, stand up. I'm up for about half a second, fall. So now you got to paddle back. So after you surf, you're going to ride the wave for about 30, 40 yards. So now you have to paddle back another 40, 50. Like, I'm tired. And I don't know what. And then this is an irrational fear I had. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm out here looking like a seal. Like, I don't even really feel comfortable being in the water because I feel like a shark is going to get me. But I was like, there's 80 other people in the water. It was, I don't know. It's just this illogical, irrational fear I always have. So that was my excuse. Now, the third time, I get up. I'm up for a second, literally a second. And then, so I'm done. I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I'm about to die on this little board. So I'm just like, go ahead, babe. I'm going to watch you. So she does about 5 or 6 more, catches most of them. Well, no, she caught damn near all of them. So I was a proud husband. I was like, at least one of us got it going on because I was not getting it done that day. But yeah, that really reminded me, like, yeah, I gotta take this working out thing a little bit more serious, boy. The famous words of E40: if you had to fight for your life for 2 minutes, could you do it? And I think I got a good 30 seconds. I had to get my cardio together because I knew I was like, oh, I'm about to hear her mouth the rest of the day. You know the road 3 ways? Yes, because I'm old and out of shape. I'm tired. So I'm talking to the guy as we're coming in, and he was like, what did he say? He was like, how much do you weigh? I think I'm about like 310 right now. He's like, you're the biggest person I've ever had come out here. And like, he's like, and you did better than most people, which is even more funny. I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, is it your first time? I was like, yeah, we gave it away. And he said, your hair. I was like, bro, that's strike 2. First you hit me with the fat joke when I walked up. Now you're saying my hair gave it away. And I was like, you got one more time, homeboy. You better hope I don't get my hands on you before we get the thing. Uh, so we go back. We go back to the condo because, like I said, it's 2 blocks away. We go back and we're in the elevator, and this older white couple comes on. And I'm just in there talking, and I'm making I can't remember what movie it's in. And I was like, yeah, some. Oh, you're from Jamaica? Yeah. Where'd you live at? Oh, I live by the beach. And so as the older couple are getting off the boat, because the lady started dying when I said it, because I think she thought I really talked like that. So as she gets off, she was like, "I hope you find your house on the beach." And I was like, it was a nice, lovely interaction with my fellow condo dweller. There was Now, the other thing about this condo is it was above a seafood restaurant, so the entire building smelled like crab all the time. It smelled like butter, garlic, and crab after 10 o'clock in the morning, and it didn't close till like 11. So that's all you smelled in the elevator. It's all you smelled downstairs, and it was just hot. If you're a fan of seafood, that was the place to go. But not I, said the bear. So after we went back, changed and whatnot, we just laid on the beach for the rest of the day. I worked on my tan. Like I said, I've got a pristine tan right now. This was a winner. Like, this was a pretty hard one to get. I'm proud of this one. It's not as good as the one in the Caribbean, but I can still appreciate a nice tan. So after this, we decide we're going to go to the Hilton because the Hilton has a fireworks show every Friday, apparently. So they said it's like 10 minutes long. So like, all right, whatever, we'll go. Well, the whole damn island was there. So we get there, they're set up, whatnot. This was probably the most pathetic fireworks show I've ever seen in my life. Not only was it like 5 minutes, but it just wasn't. There was nothing to really be proud about. Like, it was cool. I mean, you can't be upset about a free fireworks show, but I mean, I wanted my money back, and it was free. Like, it was terrible, 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 terrible. I guess maybe I have a higher expectation because out here in the Bay Area, when they do fireworks shows, it's 10, 15 minutes, and you've got some good fireworks going in rapid succession. Just so I don't know. I maybe just be bougie. So we leave there, and the one thing that we noticed was on the island there was no round tables. So as we're leaving, they have the little Hilton Village where they have like shopping within the hotel. So we're like, okay, well, let's check this round table out. So we go in there. I would have to say this is the best round table I've ever been to. The absolute best. Like, and then they did kind of like, you didn't order at like the counter and then go sit down. Like, they did it restaurant style, where someone would come up, take your order. The pizza was ready in like 15, 20 minutes. We did, I know, I'm describing me cheating. First of all, calories don't count on vacation. So that doesn't even count. So don't even worry about it. I know I'm describing all the food I'm not supposed to eat. We had the Parmesan twist, which came out in like 5 minutes and were delicious. And then we got a mushroom and olive pizza. Perfectly thin crust, perfect cheese, perfect sauce. It was amazing. It was the best pizza I've ever had. Our waitress was cool. She was actually kind of funny because she already knew. Like, that was the one thing too that I noticed. There are not a lot of black people in Hawaii. Like, not even to just live there, but just that visit. Like, it was very rare to see somebody black, and if we did see somebody black, like, they didn't want to talk to us. Like, they wouldn't make eye contact. They wouldn't acknowledge us that we were there. So it was kind of strange. The one thing that there was a plethora of was Japanese people, though. Japanese, Chinese, oh my God, they were everywhere. It had to be 60% of the people that were there were Japanese. The other 35 were white. And then the other 5 was a mix of like locals and whatnot. But yeah, that was the one thing that was surprising. Like, I had heard people say like, oh, there's a lot of Asian people in Hawaii. Oh, they were dead serious. Like, so much so that menus were in Japanese. There was a lot of noodle places. And this is another thing that made it hard to find places to eat because a lot of Japanese food has seafood in it. So there's a lot of shrimp, octopus, stuff like that, stuff that I just don't eat anyways. And then Hawaiian food is a lot of pork. So ham, sausage, bacon, and then you fill in hamburgers, chicken, all that type of stuff. So it was really hard to try to find. And then you say vegetarian, and they look at you like you don't have any sense. So eating was a difficult proposition. Like, of course they had some amazing fruit there. I'm not even gonna front, but in terms of getting something hot that was vegetarian, like that was a whole different situation. But again, best round table ever. And then as we were walking back to the hotel, I thought about something. Like, I haven't seen any homeless people. Like, the whole time. Like, I was like, there has to be homeless people here because, I mean, there are homeless people everywhere. And I thought about that because as we were walking down one of the main roads in downtown, I saw a guy begging in a wheelchair. And one of I guess they have like liaisons for downtown. Like, you can ask people for directions and stuff like that. He acknowledged dude. And he kind of like, hey, Tom, whoop, whoop, whoop. He's like, you're not supposed to be here. So I'm like, wait a minute. They're banning homeless people? Like, they're like, what? Because especially out here in the Bay Area, you see homeless people everywhere. But I didn't see any. And then as I thought back, I did see some homeless people, but we just didn't acknowledge it on the tour. Like, as we were driving past one of the nicest beaches you've ever seen, we passed about 20 tents. But you don't notice it because in my mind, I was thinking, oh, people are just camping. Because it doesn't, like our homeless encampments, there's trash all over the place. It just looks disheveled. This was a little bit more organized. They had their blue tarps on the top, obviously to protect from the weather. So it looked organized. It looked a lot cleaner, so you don't think about it. But I was like, damn, they really are kicking homeless people out of the strip. Because, I mean, the strip that we were on, there was a Louis Vuitton store. There was an Omega store, a lot of high end stores. Everything was brand new, really shiny. So they don't really want you out there begging. And then the culture is a little bit different. Japanese, Chinese people, like you can't just you could press them because they're not going to really. Even from what I saw, they're not really confrontational. They're just going to kind of try to walk around you, so they don't want to be bothered. But I feel it. I mean, I've had my struggles with homeless people, but that was a whole different situation. They were banning them to different parts of the island. Remember that. That's a that's called foreshadowing. Remember that I said that. Also, when we're at roundtable, because again, there's three things that I don't like to talk about, especially in public: politics, sports, and religion. As we're in the roundtable, my man starts. Well, him and his wife both look like Rachel Maddow. If you don't know who it is, Google it. Thank me later. Like the same kind of glasses. She has the fedora on, and he's telling a story. But he was drunk too. Like he was drunk. Like he was talking loud, and he said that he was at a bar earlier before they had came there, and the president came up on the screen, and he had some kind of smart ass remark about the president, and dude turned around and gave him a dirty look apparently, and so the guy told him, "This is America, man. Like I got free speech, man. Like you're not gonna intimidate me." And I was like, "You need your ass whooped." Like I had posted a meme the other day. Let me try to remember it word for word. Social media has made too many of you comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the mouth for it. It was like, word up. Like, that is the realest thing I've ever heard. Like, people think they could just talk crazy and that's going to be the end of it. Like, you won't get punched in your shit. Like, come on, bro. Like, I get it. That's your opinion. But if you can see that your opinion is offending somebody, just chill out. Because now when dude jumps on you, you're going to want to call the police. Oh, he assaulted me. And so on and so forth. Like, bro, that, mm, mm, I don't know. So as we're walking back, we left the round table. We left him. And there was a plethora of street performers. Magic tricks, people singing, kids dancing. It was like a little baby Vegas. And it was actually surprisingly popping. The weather wasn't that bad. None of that. What? Oh, I almost forgot. Oh, we're in overtime too. All right, I'm gonna tell you this, and then I'll leave you with this, and then we'll come back. We'll come back to this. Now Thursday, when we had got back from the tour, we had found this fish and tacos place. This was, I don't, I don't. As much as I love Roundtable, I try to stay away from any type of franchise or anything like that when we're on vacation. It's like I want to try the local food. I want to see what's going on. I like to support local businesses, stuff like that. So we go in, and dude's already cool off top. He like I see the guy in front of me is being an ass, so I immediately, hey, how you doing? Best day ever. Whoop whoop whoop. What do you like here? What do you got? So once he sees I'm being cool, that's the hookup. So he's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna throw this on there for you. I was like, well, throw some of them onions and jalapenos on there for your boy. He's like, oh, they had spicy guacamole. They had like it was like hot, like not heat hot, but flavor hot. They had different kind of sour cream. They had habaneros, but it was fire. I was again because then I had got Hawaii fries. I mean, it was basic beans, cheese, guacamole, sour cream, onions, jalapenos, stuff like that. So when he made the fries, there was like still some that he didn't put in the basket. I was like, bro, go ahead and throw those in the box, and I'm gonna take care of you at the tip cup. So he looked at me, he thought about it, and he was like, okay, puts them in there. I come down, I'm talking to the kid at the end, couple jokes, joke. I throw like $8-9 in the tip cup. He throws me 2 soda cups. I'm like, that's what's up. I was like, see, this is what happens. And I try to tell my wife how you are perceived by people and how you treat people is how you get the plug. yes, it's people's job to help you. Yes, they're supposed to do whatever. But when you treat people with respect and you talk to them like an actual person, it's amazing what people will do for you. Like, dude didn't have to plug me with those extra fries. He didn't have to plug me with the guacamole or whatever. And dude at the register definitely didn't have to give me those drinks. But when you're cool with people and you're having a good time, hey, how you doing? And you can tell that people can tell that you're being genuine with them. They'll break their back to try to make you happy. That's one of the things we're working on here at the Tru Sav household. So we're chilling, having a good time, eating our food, and I'm looking outside because it's a big glass window and there's tables outside, and there's a not older, he may be late 30s, mid 30s, bald white guy. He's outside at the table, and he's facing me. His wife, a kind of short, heavy-set lady, and a woman that looks to be her mother have their backs to me. And something about him just caught my eye. And I'm like, what is he? Because I'm married. Anyone who's been in a long-term relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friend relationship, you're going to argue. It happens. There's going to be misunderstandings. There's going to be something about the other person that pisses you off. I get it. That's how it happens. But it's ugly when it happens in public. So I can see him talking. I can't hear what he's saying, but from his hand movements and his face and how he's talking, I was like, oh, he's mad. Like, he's mad. Like, he's saying some real hurtful shit right now. And my wife was like, no, you're not. No, he's not. You're tripping. Like, you're just me. I was like, no, he's mad as fuck right now. I can see it. I know that face. And he's going. And I can see him. He's pointing at her. And this goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm being a Rosie the nosy neighbor at this point. Because like, I'm just trying to pretend like we're doing something because we ate our food already. So now we're just sitting here. So he goes to walk off, and then she starts going, and she's doing the finger pointing thing, the side to side. She's banging on the table. I was like, oh shit, this is a good one. Like, this is now I'm invested. Like I need closure. I need to see what's going on. So there's a grandpa that walks up with a child in a stroller. The child couldn't have been more than a year, maybe. It was sitting up, but it wasn't really talking. So maybe a couple months, 9, 10, maybe a year. So he pulls up. He sees the argument still going. He walks off. So I was like, yep, that's an OG for you. Like, I don't want no part of this. I'm in Hawaii. I don't got time for this. So me being the nosy person, I'm like, well, let's go outside and like, we'll try to like catch part of it. And then we'll go to the hotel or we'll go to the room. So we walk by, and it's a regular couple argument. I told you already. Some. And she said something about, I told you this already. I told you this last night. Some. And then dude cuts her off. So I'm like, damn. Nah, I gotta know. So like, I think at this point, dude recognized that I was ear hustling. Because he recognized that every time he looked up, I was looking at him. So the grandpa comes, he gives the guy the key to the room, and he walks off. He leaves the baby, he dips off. He was like, I'm not here for this, I'm out. So I walk across the street, and you could still see them arguing from across the street, and they were going. Like, they were going. He tries to walk off, and she runs up on him and grabs him. And so I'm like, yo, like, what are you doing? That's assault, lady. You can't do that. So she grabs him, kind of like pulls him to the side. And now the whole time, the mom hasn't said a word. She's just kind of watching. So now we're across the street, and this goes on for like another 3-4 minutes. So then we're like, okay, it's getting old. Like, let's just go. So they must have heard me, because as soon as I said that, dude just walks off. He walks across the street, and she runs full speed. So I'm like, oh, she's going to tackle him. Like, there's just no way. She's going to tackle him. They're going to be fighting in the middle of the street. So Not to be mean. Health is wealth. Take care of your mentals and your body. There's nothing funnier than watch someone run that has no athletic ability. It's the funniest shit in the world to me. I don't know why. It's fucking hilarious to me. So she runs of course she's running full speed, and she grabs his arm, and just like kind of holds on to him, and he's trying to walk away, and she's pulling him, and other people are noticing, they're kind of giggling. And the first thought that crossed my mind was, if the roles were reversed, how unfunny would this be? Like, if that was a woman walking across the street and dude snatched her the way that she snatched him, like, people would be up in arms and they'd want to call the cops and they'd want to get involved. But when it's a woman, no one bats an eye. I mean, again, being the happy hypocrite, I understand double standards apply. Like, it was just weird watching that interaction. And this is in public. Like, this isn't like they were tucked off somewhere. This is on the main street. And so they're arguing. So again, grandma just takes the baby, walks calmly over. So, and he's trying to get her off of him, but he's not really trying. Like, he's trying to slide out of there, but he's not really pushing her off of him. So the mom comes over, and it's getting to the point where he wants her to let go, and she won't let go. And he starts to get physical with her. Like, he starts to push her off of him, and the mom kind of is like, okay, like, let him go. Because whatever was being discussed, she was in the wrong. Because once the tears came out, and I was like, because if he did something, well, and this is just my personal opinion, if he had did something wrong, I feel like she would have had a little bit more energy. But since he was mad, she had resorted to the tears because he wasn't trying to hear nothing she was talking about. He wasn't listening. He was just like, whatever. And he was trying to leave. Then she snatched the baby from him, and that's when it got wild. So now the mom's tripping, he's tripping, and then my wife was finally like, bro, we can't even hear what they're talking about. Like, it's time to go. I was like, well, let me just walk past him like one time so I can hear it. She was like, no, nosy Rosie, take your ass back to the house. So I'm like, all right, fine. Then we went to the house and watched ridiculousness, and that was it. So far, the trip to Hawaii was amazing up to this point. This was Friday. So let's see. All right. So that's where I will leave you at today. That was the first part of the mental health vacation. A lot of exciting stuff going on. Oh, whew, I want to go back already. I miss the weather. Oh my goodness. So we're already in. Oh yeah, we're in bonus time today. You guys are just getting extra treats today. Look at this. Come back from vacation, fresh and full of life, just knocking hours down. Once again, still looking for theme music. Still looking for some graphic art stuff. If you know anybody or you do it yourself, please email me. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Email bestdayeverpodcast@gmail.com with your, if you know anyone that does music, art, anything like that, I got to get this thing situated. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tru Sav Comedy, like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Yeah, man. Next week will be the conclusion of the mental health vacation. Now, the next two are when we get into the fun stuff. This is where we ventured out by ourselves, and we start seeing some of the local stuff, and we started hanging out with the locals, and some very interesting stuff happened. So, don't forget to tune in next week for the conclusion of the mental health vacation here on the Best Day Ever podcast. So I'll leave you. Don't forget, you can't get yesterday back. You might not get tomorrow, so that makes today the best day ever. And if nobody told you yet, I believe in you. You're going to do great things, and I love you. Mahalo.